What's up, everyone? Welcome back for another Comic-Con 2022 interview. I've got some of the team behind the new series, The Resort, with us. I've watched about half, and then I forced myself to stop because I started to panic that I might slip and say something too soon. This is a very unique, twisty-turny show, and I love it.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Huge
What do you mean when you say
congratulations.
half of the first 4 episodes or half of the show?
No, half of the show.
Okay.
I stopped at
four.
the end of episode 4.
Mid-season.
Nice.
Yeah,
Did
they
you
have all of
scream?
them
That's
now.
a good twist. Did you
Good,
scream
good.
at the end of episode 4?
The only reason I didn't scream out loud is because I have Comic-Con like brain and energy at this point, and I wasn't able to scream when I finished it at like 3 a.m. But so I'm like teetering into spoiling things. The end of that episode was very, very effective. I will tell you that.
Spoil away.
Thank you. Thank
No
you.
way.
Even with that spoiler, I don't think anyone can guess where it goes
No.
after
Oh,
that.
definitely
I don't
not.
think so.
Nobody will be able to guess anything that happens in this show, even as you're sitting through every single episode. I was very
Truly.
impressed by how many genres you mash up into this thing and how effective it is. And speaking of that, Andy, I was reading some quotes that you gave about having the hopes of having made something that felt like a big summer movie that mashed up all these different genres. And you've had that dream for a while, but why did now prove to be the right time for The Resort?
Because I don't know, they let me do it. I think Palm Springs probably helped with that, and to get the permission to give it a shot. And Peacock was the first one to bite. And back in the day, it was always all my favorite movies were Universal movies, and I'm pretty sure they're all in the same family. It's all owned by Comcast, I'm pretty sure. So it's nice to be able to like do that big summer kind of tentpole blockbuster on a still small indie budget under the like Universal and Peacock umbrella. So.
Is there anything you're able to accomplish on this series that makes you think, if I didn't have all of my prior experience, I wouldn't have been able to do this specific thing now? Like where if you did get the opportunity to make this earlier in your career, you wouldn't have been able to do it as successfully as you did.
I mean, earlier in my career, I was just like in a van touring the country in a little indie rock band. So I definitely couldn't have done anything, 10 years ago. I'd say, there's. I don't think any of this could have been done prior to. We'll see if any of it actually works now. But I don't think any of this could have been done prior to any of these other jobs that I had. So
Can confirm it works. Have faith. Okay.
Yes.
So for
Thank
the,
you.
Thank
Please,
you.
yeah,
For
thank
the
you
three
so
of
much.
you now, again, this is a show with a whole lot of twists and turns. I'm curious, what is the biggest difference between what you thought your character would turn out to be when you first auditioned for the role and then who they become as you learn more and more about the journey they were going to go on?
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea because I only got one scene and it made no sense for me. I was like, what is this? How do I play this? How do I even have something closer? As crazy as it was, I did my audition, which, by the way, I think it was the worst audition I've
it was wonderful.
And I was like, no, there's no way I'm getting a call back. And then I got a call back.
Why did you think it was the worst audition?
Because I had no idea. Sometimes when I look at a script, I know which way it's gonna go, and then I do something, and it's like, well, this is what I see, this is what I read on the script. But this time I was reading, and I was like, what is this? It makes no sense. What is yellow snake? What? So I didn't know. I guessed the tone, but I didn't know whether it was it's the right tone, and I was right because there isn't one tone. It's like a mix of a lot of things. So, and it's crazy. And I was right because what I was reading. But then how do you address that?
The audition process fascinates me. I want to squeeze in one more question about that. What is it like walking out of an audition, not being happy with what you deliver, but then finding out that the creator likes what you did and then kind of merging that together for the next part of the process?
It's crazy because as soon as I got a call back, I looked at that tape and I was like trying to figure out, why am I on a call back if this is so bad? And
It's the best surprise, I think. Like you go in and you don't think you do well, and then suddenly you get another chance. Like, and especially when the script is good and you feel like you screwed up the audition and then you get another chance to do it.
And then you have
It's
to hold
amazing.
tight to whatever you thought was a screw up because it
That's
worked.
true. That's true. But
But
yeah,
you
can
also
still play.
you're always the worst judge of that.
True.
You know, like you should never think that much about that because it's not in your control.
We're all always our own worst critics.
Yeah.
Yes.
Were you going to jump in, Andy? I
I
cut you
was
off.
just gonna say that like your audition tape didn't actually matter because there was several people in the writers' room that brought you up, and then when we
That's
said
what
that
I
you did
thought.
audition, we're like, oh, we should just see if she wants to do it. So the tape was great, but they're fans
It
of you
wasn't
already
great,
ahead of time.
Andy, I
She has
saw
a
it.
really great movie, La Camarista, that is like top notch, and that's why we wanted her to be in it. So you're too hard on yourself. So.
I love it. I will continue down the line with that question from earlier, which I hope I can remember. What is the biggest difference between the character when you first auditioned for the role and who they turned out to be as you dug into them a little more?
Well, thank God this was one of my first offers in the US. Andy wrote me a really beautiful letter being like, man, I saw your work in this movie and in this show, and I would love you to play this character, which is one of the leads of the show and is very important. Then he sent me the first two scripts where I wasn't barely in them, and I was like, I'm not in the scenes at all. And he was like, no, you need to trust me. The first two episodes is just like a setup for your character, but after episode 3, it's all about you. It's all about you. Just trust me. And I did, and it was right. But at the beginning, I was very scary, being like, maybe I've been tricked by this guy, and I'm just gonna be a well-paid extra in these 8 episodes in Puerto Rico for 4 months. But it was really cool, and also very tricky because our characters are like the bridge before the past and the present. You know, like these guys live in the golden days of the resort when the resort was beautiful and perfect, and they were building this family and doing these drugs for the first time and having these parties for the first time, and they are the bridge to the present where after this horrible thing happened, and they're trying to solve the mystery with Noah and Emma, the characters from Cristin and Will. So I think building that bridge was very interesting, and also tricking the audience all the time, you know, because at the beginning you need to think there's something shady about these two, and it might not be true, or maybe it is. I don't know, but playing with those misleading directions all the time, that was an interesting part of the job.
I keep ruining the flow here, but I want to follow up on that. How do you figure out how much to kind of play into the mystery where you're trying to build it up for the audience, as opposed to, I guess, playing the truth of the character that you know is going to wind up being the case in the end?
It has to be both. That's the tricky part. Like you need to be able to do all those misleading things, but at the end of the day, after seeing the whole show, that need to make sense with your character, because otherwise, as an audience, you're gonna be like, fuck this shit, you know? And I think that's a tricky thing doing from the writers room, but also being very honest and truthful to what you're doing in every single scene. You know, not thinking that much about what's gonna happen in 4 episodes.
All right, Nina, you're finally up. That last question that we asked like 10 minutes ago.
No, yeah, I think Violet from like the first episode, she just gets more and more complex. I think you learn a lot about her and Murray and Nick Offerman's character in the second episode, and you kind of see why she's in this place. And when I got the first episode, I was again kind of like Luis, like I was in it at like the very end, and then it's a wild ride, and I think it was really exciting getting to know her more and more, because her story mimics a lot of my own life currently. So that was really bizarre and like a weird mystical universe thing to have it come into my life right now.
I must follow up. How so?
Yeah, I mean, in the show, Violet's dealing with the loss of her mother, and a month prior, I had lost my father, and I don't want to spoil much of what happens, but there's something else that Violet is given kind of as a gift from her mom, and I had a very similar gift from my own dad that has taken me and my family on a journey. So it's been pretty crazy and spectacular how, you know, intertwined we were. Yeah.
I'm sorry for your loss, but that's some beautiful connectivity there. Andy, I'm coming back your way. So again, we've already covered this, a whole bunch of genre mashups happening here. Is there any particular genre that you tap into that you found the hardest to either write to begin with or bring to screen ultimately?
It's funny. I don't really think I don't think so much about the genre stuff. It's I feel like as long as the tone is consistent, and I think our tone is constantly going from silly to sincere, and it's really a hard line to balance on, because sometimes we can get too silly and sometimes we get a little too like melodramatic, so we always want to undercut it with the goofiness, but I feel like as long as we have control over that, you can kind of like jump around to any genres kind of like with ease, and a lot of it's just to like keep me entertained in the writing process. I get bored very easily in life, but on its very practical level, the hardest one was there's some disaster film elements to this, and that's just, it's hard to do a disaster film, and those were just on a scale, it's still small scale for the show, but those were the hardest things to actually pull off production wise. Yeah.
In terms of those tonal shifts, when can you gauge for yourself when it's working best? At what part in the process? Can you feel it in the script? Does it have to be when you see your actors working with the material on set, or is it not until it's all edited together?
I'd say I following my gut along in the script. It seems like it's good enough, and then teaming up with Ben Sinclair, who I think who directed the first 4 episodes, and he has the same kind of everything has to have comedy in it, and like in High Maintenance, he can make me laugh and cry in the same 5-minute scene, and so that's so I feel it there. But it's even as we were shooting from February or March through May, we were constantly kind of looking at each other like, is this gonna work? I don't know. And it wasn't until seeing it in the edit that I was like, okay, now it's working.
I feel like you don't wind up with a special end product if you're not asking yourself, is this gonna work while you're on set? Otherwise, you're probably doing a carbon copy of something else.
Yeah, it really wasn't until the edit that we saw that it was okay. We got it. So
you should be proud.
So
you did thus far, at least.
Okay,
I can't speak to the full show, but I have lots of faith because I really do like the first 4 episodes. Okay, so for the 3 of you now, working with, again, all of these genres, but also the twists and turns in the narrative, what's a core quality of each of your character where even if things get zany, even if they make a really impulsive decision, you could always come back to that core quality as an anchor to know their decisions are made in a truth to the character?
Do you want to start?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Go for it. Go for it.
I think it was a blessing to have played 2 stages of this character. 15 years back and 15 years forward. Present. So in that sense, I think what you realized that have changed for me, that was my anchor, because I was thinking, what was she thinking 15 years ago? Who was this person 15 years ago? Because even if I brought it to myself, I was like, who was Gabriela 15 years ago? And I didn't recognize myself from the person I am now. So I put that into Luna, and I thought, okay, maybe she was this, and this, but then in her present, family is what matters the most, and she's now a mother, and she's married. So I think now you have to put that into balance. Yeah, the golden years were amazing, but now you have your present, and your present it's great too. And the most important thing, it's family at the end of the day.
That's a beautiful answer. Now you 2 have to top that.
I think it's about proving the world that he's enough, proving the world that he can solve this mystery. This character he comes from this really powerful family in Yucatan, and he doesn't want to belong to that family anymore. He needs to create an own version of himself, and he's obsessed with detective novels, and he wants to be the best detective in the world. And the first time he got a real case, he cannot solve it, and now he have the opportunity of doing that 15 years later. So there's always this really big desire of proving that he's enough, which I think is really moving and sad, and I think every one of us can relate to that feeling in a way. So I think that was an easy clue to follow, no? Yeah.
How about for you, Nina?
Yeah, I think Violet is really fearless and kind of marches to her own tune, and I think within that, I think as the show goes on, it gets wilder and wilder, and I think just trusting, because she's grieving, so I think trusting that like grief is messy, and I think this is your 20s are messy, and just kind of combining both of those things, and then dealing with Sam, Skylar Gisando's character on top of that, like them together, just kind of rooting into that messiness.
All right, Andy, I have a big question for you that makes me feel like a big old jerk for asking it, because it makes me feel greedy because we haven't even seen the full season yet. But I had read a quote a while back that when you conceived of the show, the plan was to make it, I guess, an anthology series of sorts where each season takes place in a different location. Is that still the plan? And do you have a next location in mind?
Ask Peacock.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can. If we want to keep it going, there's ways to keep it going. But I'd say that the mysteries and the questions that are set in this season, everything is answered. So it is it's a very closed end kind of thing.
Okay.
Here.
I'm a big believer in manifesting, so I feel like it's okay that I asked that question.
Thank you for doing that.
I didn't get a rap sign yet, so I'm going to play a game unless someone yells at me.
I love a game.
All right. So this is my favorite game to play because I love horror movies. I'm basically going to turn the set of The Resort into a slasher movie. So I'm going to give you guys a slasher movie cliche, and I need you to tell me which actor best suits this description.
Okay.
And you can call out anyone who's not here. They'll never
A
find
slasher,
out.
a slasher movie? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm not a native speaker. Slasher movie is like
Scream and
Halloween.
Michael
Oh,
Myers.
okay, got it.
All right.
got it.
I don't like.
Yeah.
It's all fake, I promise.
All right,
So
okay.
you're on set.
All right.
A masked killer is running around your set. Who is most likely to not realize that they're in a horror movie and being stalked by a killer and go and investigate a strange noise and be the first to die?
Skylar.
Skylar, yeah.
Why Skylar?
He likes to go off on his own a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's not here right now.
Yeah,
Right,
We would
yeah.
just,
The reason.
true. We would just be like on set, and suddenly he'd just disappear
Disappears,
somewhere.
yeah.
He heard about a good buffet
Right.
down the street. And
Totally.
He was like,
Yeah.
He's the
Chipotle.
guy-
Yeah. He's out of there.
Yeah, he's the guy that is not aware that the mic of his phone is open when he's saying something
Yes,
really
Or he's on Zoom.
inappropriate.
Yeah.
He doesn't know
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's on
Skylar.
camera.
Hi, Skylar. We love you. We still love you.
This all lines up pretty well. Here's a more positive one. Who is the most likely to sacrifice themselves for the group?
I want to say Nick Offerman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Nick, definitely
Offerman,
Nick.
Yeah.
He's super kind and generous.
Yes.
And he's also the oldest one, so
Yeah.
he had a
So
nice
he's
life
lived
already.
longer. so-
Definitely
Yeah.
not Luis.
See ya.
Yeah, yeah. I will sacrifice him. I will be like, Nick, go.
I have yet to hear someone put that spin on it. I am amused. Most likely to trip and fall while running from the
Will.
killer.
Will.
Really?
Will, all the time. Yeah.
Will.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
Did
didn't
that
know
happen
about
on
him.
this set?
No, I can see Will doing that. Now I can. I thought it was me, but
No.
Will can be
you're
clumsy.
Yeah. No, but I think you
Will.
have more qualities with your body than Will. Yeah.
thank you.
Here's my favorite one. Who is the first to basically say, like, F this, it's too scary. I'm not even staying around for this. I'm leaving and just walk off.
Andy,
Andy.
100%.
I totally disagree.
I disagree too.
Yeah, I think that's also Will too.
I think it's Will as
Will.
well.
Will.
love you so much.
Absolutely.
Will
That's not a bad
100%.
thing.
Yeah,
That's a great quality.
Yeah, there was a scene when
Yeah,
we had
true.
an helicopter landing, and he was like shaking to the core of how scary he was about this helicopter crashing or whatever. But he was
Yes.
really far away.
Yes.
It never felt dangerous for any of us. But he was like, "Are we done with this? Are we done with this?" So yeah,
And I
probably.
just wanted to go on the helicopter, and we were like, no way. And I'm like, yeah.
I would have been right there with you.
Yeah.
Send
Yeah.
me in that helicopter, put me in a plane, and let me jump out of it, please.
Yes.
Who is the most likely to be the last one standing?
Nick Offerman.
The last one.
Also, he has great
Yeah.
survival skills.
Yeah.
But if he didn't sacrifice himself, or if we didn't sacrifice him, then Nick
Right.
definitely.
Yeah. I agree.
But
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He could survive.
No, maybe Luis, because he's too smart as well. He will find ways.
No,
I'm
no
sure.
way.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably me because I will be sacrificing everyone else.
And then you're the
And
last
then
one
I'm
left.
the last one,
Yeah.
yeah.
I knew it.
But I wouldn't
Yes.
let you sacrifice me.
Yeah.
That should
Yes.
actually be a slasher movie twist. Like
Yes.
you think that someone is like the final character, but then it's revealed that they've just been sacrificing everybody else the entire time. I have one last one for you. I like this one a lot too. Who is the most likely to be the one that you think is dead, but then they come back at the last possible second and save the day?
I think Ben.
Ben.
I
Yeah.
think people thought he was dead
Ben.
a lot of the time we were there. so.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's true.
Ben.
Ben gets himself into some weird situations. I found myself in a situation where some guy came up with like talking to us while we were at the beach with like a machete, and Ben was just like trying to like talk it, but it was a wild
Yes.
wild ride.
Yeah.
So Ben, yeah,
Ben, it's so funny.
he just gives
Yeah.
off that energy to like
Sure.
find himself in.
I have to let you all go. Thank you for your show, and thank you for amusing me with my slasher movie obsession. That was fun. Congratulations. And to everybody
you.
out there, keep an eye out for The Resort. Trust me, you have no idea what you're in for.